We are back with another mock draft video for you today, this time with the 12th overall pick. I'm excited to dive into this one, but before I get into it, if you could take a second, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you don't already, and let us know what you think about the team we drafted in the comments. Let's get into it. All right, we have the 12th overall pick, so let's dive right in and see what we can do. I'm not a big fan of the 12th pick or the first pick because there's so many picks in between that you get put in a position where you kind of have to reach for players because there's a good chance that they're not going to make it back to you. So I'm thinking wide receiver here, and looking at the wide receivers, we got CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown, both solid wide receivers. Don't mind picking them up, and I'm going to grab a running back on the way back around, so I don't mind those two for my first two picks. It's on me, and let's take a look at the running backs available. And Jahmyr Gibbs is here, and I really like Jahmyr Gibbs this season. I think he's going to be really good in PPR formats. So I'm going to grab Jahmyr Gibbs with the 3rd round pick. And let's take a look at the wide receivers available. We got Keenan Allen, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper. Now I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley here. He's the wide receiver 1 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of good reports coming out of camp, how he has really stood out as that wide receiver 1 role on this team. So I really like the upside of Calvin Ridley, getting him in the 4th round. I think there's a good chance that he finishes in the top 15 wide receivers this season. So I don't mind grabbing Calvin Ridley there. And let's take a look at the quarterbacks available. We got Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Tua, and I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence here. Stack him up with Calvin Ridley. And let's take a look at the wide receivers. We got DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, Brandon Ayuk. Let's take a look at the running backs available. DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers, Delvin Cook, James Conner. Let's take a look at the tight ends. Dallas Goedert, Evan Ingram. Yeah, let's go for a wide receiver, and I'm going to go with DJ Moore. I'm not a big fan of the Chicago Bears team. I do have some concerns that Justin Fields is not going to be as consistent as everyone is hyping him up to be. But I don't mind grabbing DJ Moore. We have pretty solid wide receivers on our team. But I'm definitely thinking running back on the way back around. And it's back to me. Let's take a look at the running backs available. We got David Montgomery, James Cook, A.J. Dillon, and I'm going to go with James Cook here. There's a lot of good reports come out of camp about James Cook being a 3-down back for the Buffalo Bills, so I don't mind grabbing him as my 2nd running back. And let's take a look at the wide receivers, and we got Kadarius Toney, Brandon Cooks, Quentin Johnston, Michael Thomas, and if I didn't have CeeDee Lamb already, I'd probably go with Brandon Cooks here. But in this situation, I am going to go with Quentin Johnston. I think there's a lot of upside with him on this team. There's a lot of reports that he's going to be that big play down the field guy for the Chargers, and the Chargers do plan on throwing the deep ball a lot more this season. So I do like grabbing Quentin Johnston. I know that Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are good players, but they do tend to deal with injuries, and I don't like predicting injuries, but it seems like these guys tend to miss time every single season. So I don't mind grabbing Quentin Johnston, who has earned his role as the wide receiver 3 on this team, and I think there's a lot of upside grabbing him this late in drafts. And let's take a look at our roster. We need a tight end still, defense, and then we need to fill our bench spots. So it's back to me. Let's take a look at the tight ends available. And we got Dalton Schultz, Cole Kmet, Dalton Kincaid, who has a lot of hype coming out of camp about him, Chikankwo. I'm going to go with Dalton Kincaid here, fill our tight end position, and let's just get more wide receiver depth. And looking at the wide receivers available, we got Courtland Sutton, Elijah Moore, Odell Beckham. And I'm going to go with Courtland Sutton here. I think this Denver Broncos team is going to be a lot better this season. And they are dealing with a lot of injuries at the wide receiver position, with Tim Patrick tearing his Achilles, and then KJ Hamler dealing with a heart issue. So they're dealing with injuries at the wide receiver position. So Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton, I believe, are safe picks this season. So I don't mind grabbing Courtland Sutton here. And let's take a look at our team. We need a defense, and then we just need to continue to fill in our bench. And we need another running back. Let's take a look at the running backs available. We got Devin Singletary, Dante Foreman, Kendre Miller, Tanks Bigsby. And I'm going to go with Kendre Miller. I think that this is going to be the running back that is going to benefit Alvin Kamara being suspended. Alvin Kamara hasn't been officially suspended yet, but I'm assuming that it's going to happen. I think he's going to miss anywhere from 4 to 6 games if I had to guess. So I'm going to take a chance and grab Kendre Miller. And I'm going to take a look at the wide receivers. And looking at the wide receivers available, we got Sky Moore, Darnell Mooney, Rondell Moore. And I'm going to go with Sky Moore here. And it's back to me, our last 2 picks. And looking at the wide receivers available, we got Nico Collins, Zay Jones, Michael Gallup, Jalen Hyatt. And that's who I'm going to go with. Jalen Hyatt, I think there's a good chance that he can earn himself a role on this Giants offense. And then with our last pick, we're going to go with a defense. And looking at the defenses available, I'm going to go with the Patriots. They're pretty safe every single season. But that's going to do it for us today. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Until next time, line 'em up.